So then that trickles into the cost of goods sold, right?
Exactly.
So those vendors that do get that validation
end up
pass
charging
that
more
on.
for their FIPS modules and their FIPS validated equipment.
Right. Hi, I'm Eric.
I'm Mike.
Welcome to the Cyber Sitrep, the Cyber Situation Report.
Almost added a situational, but
That's all right. You get at least one screw up per session, so that's totally
keep
right.
Trying, yeah.
And I do too, right? We got to have that at our accelerated age, right? We need to at least get out of jail free
I
card.
almost wore my grumpy old vet shirt, but it was green, and I figured it would just have nonstop.
Great camouflage, Mike.
Like it says I'm a grumpy vet, but you don't see that. But that's okay.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, Mike, what SITREP are we talking about today?
So today, we're going to be talking about to FIPS or not to FIPS. So for those uninitiated, the FIPS standard is a standard of encryption that is required for DoD users and their subcontractors and contractors with the DoD. And there is a standard called 140-2, which is now 140-3. However, if you've heard our podcast and you know that we are in CMMC land, the Security Maturity Model certification land, they are stuck in the past and they still require FIPS 140-2. The thing about FIPS is it gets validated through the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST.
Right.
That's right. So NIST does
NIST.
the validation of a crypto module. So you build software that has encryption in it, Microsoft say, and they will send it to NIST.
Now, I have a question on that.
Yeah.
The labs that actually do it, are they contracted to NIST to do that, or are they actually
believe
ran
so.
by NIST?
No, I believe
thought
they're
they
all
were
contracted,
contractors.
yeah.
I just never took the time to look it up.
Yeah,
but,
I believe they're contracted. But basically, you put in your module and say, hey, does this meet your validation requirements?
And they formally assess, give you a report, and then you get into the registry, right?
There's a registry that says this is a validated control or algorithm. The thing is, most people are using validated crypto modules. So I'm using an AES module. But that alone doesn't
standard.
mean you are FIPS validated because you've used that in your software configuration. Therefore, you have to have your software use of this tested.
And just a gee whiz, do you have any idea at all, a rough order of magnitude, how much it costs to get your product validated by the NIST labs?
It's six figures is what I understand, and it takes forever.
Right, and there it is. It takes forever, costs a lot of money. So then that trickles into the cost of goods sold, right?
Exactly.
So those vendors that do get that validation
end up
pass
charging
that
more
on.
for their FIPS modules and their FIPS validated equipment.
Right.
And so this is where we come into the FIPS or not to FIPS.
I love that title.
So what happens is I buy a firewall. It has a VPN. It's gone through the process. I'm on version 1.2. That's passed. It's a validated module. Well, because of cost, time, etc., I have updated due to patches. Oh my God, people have broken into my device. No, it never happens. No, it always happens.
It always happens.
So now they're in my
day.
device. They have these CVEs out there.
Common vulnerability and exposures.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. So that way it says, hey, you need to fix this. There's a hole in your software.
Really bad. Like today, you need to fix it now.
So I fixed my firewall, and now I'm on version 1.8. That wasn't validated.
Oh.
So if I am a contractor for the DoD who has to maintain a FIPS validated piece of equipment, I have to run with holes? Do I got to keep? I got to keep this going, right?
This is a very important topic, but it makes my head explode.
And so this is the debate and the discussion that's been going around this community is, well, these companies are doing the proactive or even reactive if there's already a CVE, but they're doing the right thing by
patching and updating.
Updating, keeping to the current version.
Right.
And they're still using, almost always in this case, the same crypto module, right? They haven't changed the cryptography.
They're still using the same vendor, same product. They're just using vendor-provided updates.
Or something,
from
some
the vendor.
coding.
Right, from the vendor. Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. But that new version hasn't gone through the rigmarole of a formal FIPS validation. And so technically, they are not meeting this control according to NIST 800-171 of being FIPS validated.
And CMMC.
Yeah, and CMMC.
Which is, I guess, where I want to, I think this is the right segue. I think you're giving me the softball here is in the CMMC assessment community, the C3PAO community, how are you guys dealing with this conundrum?
Well, and that's where the real problem exists. Some of us go, it makes sense. iPhone 8 was the last to be formally validated, but iPhone has not changed or Apple has not changed any of their cryptography.
Right.
They've just gone to different versions, and the iOS has increased without changing. They haven't said, hey, we've now used
Different
crypto
crypto
X to
module.
crypto Y,
Right.
you know what I
Right.
mean? It's the same back end, but
Sure.
we've made improvements to the camera and
Yeah.
how the apps work
Right,
and,
right.
and those kind of things. So we're on a different version. Some of us through CPOs and assessors will look at that and go, it's Apple. Apple is Apple. Yes, we know that they're not on validated Apple 12, but as long as Apple hasn't changed their core crypto, we'll allow it.
Then they're still in the same zip code,
Right.
so we're good.
But there are some 3CPOs who are like, well, that's not what the letter of the
Right.
law says,
Right.
And, they're going to have to go back to an Apple 8 without patching, to meet this
Wow.
control. And
Which everybody loves to go backwards, right, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. And so the government has allowed you can put in, it's not a poem, but you can put in, a
Enduring exception, right?
something like that to come in and say, hey, we're working this. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
when Apple catches up, but we are going to keep current with the operating system, then rely on the older system.
Sure.
Hoping that the 3CPO or the assessors can then look and go, that makes sense.
Yeah, and this is just
you've
a classic.
documented it.
This is a classic case of perfect is the enemy of good.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Man, what a heck of a situation. So
And I bring it up today because this was a huge topic of conversation on our 3CPO call with the Cyber AB.
and a customer that we're not going to name that you know who you are.
Yes.
Right.
That has this issue.
So what did the Cyber AB have to say about this? If you could,
There was a
distill that
great
for us.
debate on whether validation was even required. Someone thought it wasn't in 800-171, but we looked, and it does say the word validate,
Oh, totally. Yes.
which got punched there.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you look at Title 32, it doesn't mention validate. It just says use the NIST standard, which, again, it does say validate or validated controls.
My memory of that's just slightly different. You're talking about the 32 CFR Part 170, right?
Yeah.
CMMC. So what I remember reading as well is that, yes, the validated is a requirement, but that due to the update to 800-171 Rev 3, which removes the validated language requirement, that you could take it, to your point, take it as a short-term thing to fix via
Right.
POAM and then request, in theory, an enduring exception for that.
Right.
But the problem, like we were just talking about the SITREP, is that then if you look at Department of War's organizational defined parameter document for Rev 3
They
of
added
the
it back.
800-171, they added it back in and said it has to be FIPS validated. So it's this do loop. So please, anybody that's influential in this realm, please take this up the chain and let's stop the insanity. Right.
And so this is a sit rep not with an answer, but
Right.
this is where we are.
Right.
Know that you're not alone.
It's a
And
huge
there's
issue.
tons of things, going on in the background to try to resolve it. But your mileage may vary, right?
Yeah.
So it is when you're out talking to a 3CPO and you want to know and you have
Yes.
this issue because you didn't FIPS, you stayed current, ask them their thought. What do they think?
Yeah.
I would say if you document it correctly,
Yes.
then you should be okay. But make sure if they come out and they're like, you will be FIPS. We don't care if you're on version
In
1.1.
this case, Digital Beachhead, because he's pragmatic.
I was going to say, don't hire that 3CPO.
Please don't. Right.
But, I wouldn't say they're technically wrong, right?
Right.
They're not going against the grain per se. They are just following the letter
Just hugely unsettled, right?
Right.
Well, and here's the issue that I have, Mike, is that this has to be happening within government as well, because they're doing the same thing. They have to patch. They have to remediate critical vulnerabilities within 3 days or shorter, depending on the agency. So they're doing this too. So there's got to be an answer available.
Yeah, the problem is different PMOs, program management offices,
Right.
think of things different ways.
Sure.
And so then you get into this, again, why it's not an answerable subject is because no one wants to look at it the same way.
Right.
We are now coming into that with FedRAMP. They're coming up with the new, what's it, FedRAMP 12 or FedRAMP 20, whatever the new FedRAMP version is. I can't think of it off the top of my head. That's going to replace the old FedRAMP. And the DoD says, yeah, that's not allowed to pass CMMC with the new FedRAMP. What? You're getting rid of the old one. And
Guys, you're just tying our hands.
Right.
It's
and
crazy.
So this is the thing that you have to deal with, and I want to add that out to other compliance. So to FIPS or not to FIPS, where are you at in your compliance journey? There are some serious decisions that need to be made that won't have the granular black and white, I know this to be true.
Yes. And I think the good news is, at least what I'm hearing, is that this is going to be one of multiple issues that's part of the review that's going on right now. And hopefully, right, fingers double crossed.
That's right. And toes.
Yeah. I'm glad you can do that.
I'm trying.
I had
I'm down here, my feet are like.
I had surgery because one of mine was, and that, anyway, that was not.
Now it's
that
permanently can't.
Exactly. Now it's fixed, and I couldn't do it if I wanted to.
There goes your luck.
But hopefully exactly. Now I have to think about it. Hopefully by the fall, right, we'll have some kind of guidance, some kind of way ahead.
Yeah, we hope.
We're just as frustrated as everyone out there is. We feel your pain. Give us some feedback on that.
This is more of like an open discussion point, really.
Right.
We don't have that solution. My personal recommendation to you is there are 3 CPOs that will accept you maintaining currency and not being on the old version.
Right.
And that's probably the safest route.
Right.
So it's better to protect your data than to live in antiquity.
Yeah, and going back to the point you kind of alluded to, but I want to make it ironclad, crystal clear, right? So if a company like Apple, Microsoft, FortiGate, whoever, right, insert name here, was previously validated in that series, then the odds are really good that they will be reaccredited at some point in the future, right? So like, for instance, operating system, data at rest encryption, BitLocker on Microsoft, right, was there for a while, not on 140-3 being validated. It was only 140-2. Apple was the exact same way. But once again, the pragmatic C3PO said, we know you're good for it. You're not using a really weird operating system that has no provenance, right?
Right.
So you're good to go. So I can't help but believe common sense is going to come in here and.
Well, that's the problem. It's not common.
I know. Well, and once again, to your point, literalism versus contextualism, right?
That's right.
Reading a control at face value versus interpreting the meaning of the nuance of the control. And it goes back to your point of you really need to pick your C3PAO carefully. And maybe it's something we could put together in a future SITREP or some kind of qualifying questions to kind of get an idea, right, of, okay, is this person hardcore by the book based on that answer? Does this person not care? It's kind of like Goldilocks, right?
That's right.
Where's the middle solution there?
Someone posted that exact analogy on LinkedIn saying, like, you have 3 CPOs, you have some where the bed is too soft, and they're just like, you pass.
Right.
Which might bite you, and it's great to pass, but it might bite you later when
Set you up for
if
failure.
you get it evaluated or there's a breach, and not just you, but the 3 CPO are in trouble because it was too soft.
Exactly.
And he said, and then there's too hard, where they're like, no, this is what the letter of the law says.
Exactly.
There is no wiggle room. There's no left or right.
Right.
And then there's just right. The ones that can throw some common sense in there and say, yes, I know Apple's iOS 11.5 has not passed the validation, but 11.1 did.
Right.
And Apple has not come out and said, oh, to move to version 5, we've scrapped the original crypto.
Exactly. We've thrown that all out.
And we've got a brand new crypto algorithm.
Yeah, brand new code base. Yeah. Not going to happen ever, right?
Instead of, we've gotten you 4 more pixels in your camera, which is typically the upgrade.
Exactly.
And we patched a hole. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, okay, nothing of consequence has changed.
Right.
Let's just say it's still good. So that the question of FIPS or not the FIPS is really based on where you want to be. I would go security versus antiquity, and then
Every
find
time.
someone
Yes.
that sees light the same way you do, and get assessed that way.
Yeah, because the problem is, especially with FIPS, crypto, it's protecting really important stuff, right? So your edge firewalls, your all that. You're exposed by running old code that has critical vulnerabilities against it. You're inviting the hackers into your domain.
Yeah.
So please go current.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I was secure, but I failed secure, and now I got hacked, and now I have to report to the DCIC portal, and I'm in a lot of trouble.
And
right?
and I will say that almost every company I've heard of that has admitted it who've gone on and posted, we've passed CMMC, has immediately been probed.
Oh, that totally makes sense.
Right, because they're like, oh, we know you passed. We also know you may be antiquated.
Exactly.
Because to pass, you might not have updated all of your stuff.
Right. Not to mention, game on. I know you're a government
Plus,
contractor,
yeah.
and you may have something really cool that I want to get access to.
And just challenge accepted as well.
Absolutely. Gauntlet thrown, gauntlet picked up.
Oh, you
Absolutely.
think you're secure? Let me test.
Let's see.
So all of those things combined,
Right.
Stay with the security first is my advice. You have to do what you have to do for your company. But my advice is go FIPS.
Yeah, and once again, at the end of this, I just want to add in, just don't lie about it. If you're not going to do it, then commit and say we're not doing it.
Yep.
Right? We're going to err on the side of security. Here's the previous stuff. Use that to defend your case and see what happens. This isn't settled by any means right now, right?
No.
So fight for it.
That's right. And then find someone who thinks like you.
Right. Cool.
So that's that. With that, I would say, remember, like and follow. And if you have any questions, leave it in comments. You can always reach out to us. But this is one of those TBD. Stay
Yes.
tuned to see
Yes.
how the DOW decides.
We will probably have a follow-up to this. I can see it in the future.
And many,
so-
many more.
Exactly. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.
Ciao. Hey, we're coming to you from the Studio 809 Community Podcast Studio here at the Next Us. This is a professional cooperative environment for small businesses here in downtown Colorado Springs. We'd like to thank them for supporting us over our journey.
Yeah, it's been a minute or two.
Yes.
Thank you guys for your continued support.
Thank you.